What's up, guys? Alex chasing back here with a brand new video. Hopefully, every day of night, everyone's on this world. And Chris Paul and the Oklahoma City Thunder are already done. The Oklahoma City Thunder are trying to find a trade suitor for Chris Paul. As we all know, Russell Westbrook just got traded to Houston for Chris Paul. They needed to find someone with somewhat of a similar... I need to get this sun really out of my face. It's distracting me. Like there's a game going on right in front of my face. Anyways, so Chris Paul... he was the perfect suitor for the Russell Westbrook trade. They both got very similar contracts, very hefty, big contracts, and that's why he got traded. But sources are saying the Oklahoma City Thunder have no intentions of keeping Chris Paul up to the season, or if they do, they're going to be trying to find the best trade partner for him, and they have no intentions of playing him or even Chris Paul playing a minute in Oklahoma. Now I'm going to read a quick article from Adrian Wojnarowski, and then I'm going to get into a few trade suitors that would be the best for Chris Paul and the rest of his career he has coming. I mean, he's 34 years old, has a humongous contract that a team's going to have to take, and I'm going to give a few teams that would be good suitors for that. Got the GOAT jersey on today, my MJ, shout out Max, got that for my birthday. Love you, brother, and let's get into the video. Per Adrian Wojnarowski, one major obstacle that could pose a problem in Oklahoma City's search for a trade partner in Paul's hefty contract. The 34-year-old guard, he's 34 years old. He's getting old. He's on the decline. He's been on the decline for the past couple years. And let me keep reading. The old guard still has 3 years of $124.1 million remaining on his contract. He signed 141. Actually, I probably was more than that. I thought it was a $141 million contract, which includes a $44.2 million player option in 2021-2022, which you know who opted into in the 2021-2022 range. He'll be 36 going on. He'll be 35 going on 36 or 36 going. He'll be old, and he'll be way out of his prime. Right now he's out of his prime, but he's still playing at a solid level. He'll be a good starting point guard for pretty much any team if anybody wanted him. But the contract that holds with him is where making teams scared and don't want to take him, because that's a big contract to take on, and most teams don't want that. But Sam Presti, I'm like almost 100% sure that the GM's name is Sam Presti. Anyway, so Sam Presti and Oklahoma City Thunder, they're like, no, we don't want to hold on to this contract. We just want them to get a right suitor for Russell Westbrook. They got the picks back. Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have been working like Danny Ainge. All they want are picks. They've gotten picks from the Clippers deal. They got picks from this deal. They're happy, and they've got picks from other little deals as well, like the Jeremiah Grant trade when they traded him to Denver. They've been getting little picks and big picks left and right. So they have 15 picks in the next 6 years. Just make that sink in. 15 picks in the next 6 years. They're rebuilding, they're retooling. I don't know whatever you want to call it. They are going to take a seat back, and Chris Paul will not be a good option for this team. They want Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to play. They want all those young guys to play. Now, let's get into some good suitors for Chris Paul. So the number one team that I've been hearing speculations from all the top NBA news sources for a fantastic suitor for Chris Paul is the Miami Heat. And yes, they were also the top of the suitor board, whatever you want to call it, for Russell Westbrook. Now, if they do this deal, I don't think this would be a very good trade for Miami. This is probably the most likely one that's going to happen. It's been talked about. Even Adrian Wojnarowski has talked about it. It's been at the top of people's talk for Chris Paul. But I think there's more negatives than positives to it. Massive contract, like we know. He's old, like we know. And if they do this trade, they're going to have to get rid of some young talent. They already got rid of some young talent with Josh Richardson. Yes, they did acquire Jimmy Butler, so it's kind of a win for the Heat. But even Jimmy Butler's no spring chicken. He's 30 years old. And I don't know. I feel like the Heat are kind of in a bad situation where they have they do. They have some young players that are not that good yet, like Derrick Jones Jr. They have some middle-aged guys we already know how they're going to produce, like Kelly Olynyk, Dion Waiters, that are on bad contracts. And then they have older stars like a Jimmy Butler and possibly a Chris Paul who aren't going to get any better. They're just going to keep getting worse, and they're not going to win with this squad. Even if they had Russell Westbrook, it might be a different story because he's still doing fantastic at 30 years old. But Jimmy Butler, he's 30. He's really not going to get any better, and he's not one of those guys that's going to carry a team to championship. Now, Chris Paul, 34 years old on a massive contract, the Heat will have to trade a lot of guys to match that contract. Justice Winslow's gone. Goran Dragic's gone. Probably either Kelly Olynyk or Dion Waiters. One of those two is going to have to be gone. And that's a lot to give up for a guy who might not even be good this season. Or if not, he's going to be on a huge decline in the next 1 to 2 years based off his age. So it's good if you're trying to, I don't know, maybe make a little bit of a playoff push. You have two guys who, especially Chris Paul, been to the playoffs. I mean, not super successful, but he knows about it, and he's an all-time point guard. And then you have Jimmy Butler, who's just a star in this league, and he knows a lot about just playing at a high level. So it's a win-lose situation in my eyes. Now let's go to the second suitor, the Detroit Pistons. I personally like this one better because as of right now, they have a point guard, either Derrick Rose or Reggie Jackson, but neither of them are super high-level point guards. I mean, if Derrick Rose comes back and plays like a little bit like his old self, then yeah, win for Detroit. But as of right now, I would try to get Reggie Jackson's contract off the books. But they bring in Chris Paul's big contract, so it kind of not really matter anyways. But Reggie Jackson's really not worth the money he's getting paid right now. He's getting paid like $16, $18 million a year. I think it's like actually $14 million a year. That's a lot for Reggie Jackson. Now, if you have Derrick Rose as your backup point guard and you have a starting lineup of Chris Paul in your front court with Langston Galloway, whoever they have, and then a small forward, I'm not really sure they're small forward. Oh, Luke Kennard's a shooting guard. Chris Paul, Luke Kennard, I'm not sure they're small forward. But then you have Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. Personally, I think that's a better team on the court than they had last year. But going back to the Heat, going back to what I said for the Heat, you got 1 to 2 years to win. Chris Paul's getting old. Like I said, he might even be bad this year. You got at least, at most, 2 years to try to do anything with Chris Paul. And then after that, he's just going to be like a guy getting paid $44 million doing nothing. So it's going to kind of suck for whoever team that gets him. But you're taking a big chance with a possible high reward. Now, the third team I have heard about, or like a team that I think could be good for Chris Paul, this might be surprising to some, but the Minnesota Timberwolves. They don't really have a point guard right now. Derrick Rose is gone. They don't really have like a point guard. Tyus Jones absolutely has disappointed all of us in the past couple of years. Let me just look up the Minnesota Timberwolves roster to make sure. Like, I want to know who their point guard is right now. Minnesota Tim. Oh yeah, I forgot about Jeff Teague. They do have Jeff Teague, who would be their starting point guard right now. He was even their starting point guard last year. But if you bring in a Chris Paul, if you look at this, you're probably gonna have to give up Robert Covington, Jared Bayless. They had no problem with that, and either an Andrew Wiggins or the Jeff Teague contract. They'd probably rather give up the Jeff Teague contract, Robert Covington, and Jared Bayless, and then maybe a young guy for incentive like KBD up, or like a Josh Okogie in there, just to give a team some incentive Thunder to take that offer. But that would not be a bad team for 1 to 2 years. You take a risk. Let's just say you do keep Andrew Wiggins. You got Chris Paul. Then at year 2, you could run. I don't know if you'd run year 2, but like that you could run Shabazz Napier at year 2 if you really wanted to. Like, I mean, he's a solid player. But then like you got even better. You got Andrew Wiggins, and then you could put Gorgie Dang or Jake Layman. Then Cat. I mean, that team's not going to be anything special. Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, that's a championship contending team. It's absolutely not. But it's better than what they have now. And if they make some little moves around it, they could probably make a few good playoff pushes in the next 2 years with a Chris Paul. Now, I just want to recap on this. None of these offers, in my eyes, are really worth Chris Paul. Like, honestly, if I was other teams, I wouldn't even try to get this guy. Like, I know he's probably gonna go to Miami, and there's the Pistons and the Timberwolves are other little teams that I've heard and that I think would be good fits for Chris Paul. But at the end of the day, if I'm the other 29 teams, good luck, Oklahoma. I'm not taking that contract. I mean, there's gonna be a team out there like probably Miami Heat or the other teams I've talked about that are gonna take a chance on him. But I don't know why. He's gonna suck either this year or the next 2 years. And when I say suck, he'll probably be averaging like 10 points. 10 assists and like 3 rebounds, which is not bad, but it's not worth $44 million a year. So I'm kind of conflicted on what the NBA teams should do with this whole situation. If they just say, bye-bye, good luck, Oklahoma, you take that contract, or if they're really going to try to acquire this massive contract and try to make something of kind of a bad contract situation. Anyways, hope you guys did enjoy this video, and yeah, like always, peace.